Alright, I'm completely shooting from the hip on this one, but this is a story about burnout, about mental health, and about sensory deprivation tanks. And it's something that I wanted to tell you and I want to communicate because it's one of the most important lessons that I just learned. Alright, we're back with the yapping. I'm in the office right now, which has had the most astronomical downfall. I won't lie, the downfall of the office must be studied. There used to be people here, there used to be people working out of here, but everyone kind of just works at home now and our desks are in our room. But I don't know, I feel like we gotta bring it back. Also, I saw some of your comments on the last video. Yeah, I don't know about Luke Combs, man. Like, I'll go as far as Zach Bryan on the countryside. I'm also wearing this like real cheap. I've never shot a deer in my life. All right, to tell the story and explain what is going on, I need to set the stage. So 3 weeks ago, I burnt out to the max. This is probably the most burnt out I've felt in a very long time, maybe even ever. And you know you're burnt out based on the amount of stress you feel as soon as you power on in the morning. I'd wake up and just feel like the weight of an elephant stepping on my chest and just be stressed out and anxious about everything. And it was a feeling that everyone on our company, everyone on our team was feeling as well. And it's not fun when you get to this point. It's happened before, but this time it's a lot different because our team isn't just me, Max, and Chris anymore. Our company's like 8 people, right? And so the morale has cascading negative effects that can just spiral the whole team. And yeah, I was feeling really burnt out. For context, it was because there weren't a lot of ticket sales for the festival that we're hosting in a month, and we were just really stressed. We were trying all these different things, trying to push these numbers forward, but it's not a good feeling when you have this number that's over your head that's like, this is the metric that determines your worth, how many tickets are sold. And I was feeling a lot of that pressure because that's my job. Like, technically, I am the chief marketing officer of Creator Camp. So a lot of like this, getting this number up is my responsibility. And so it hurt a lot. And I felt this level of shame. And every day I'd show up and just feel exhausted because I was trying to push, but things just weren't working. And so because I was feeling so burnt out and needed to get away from it, I had this trip planned. It was 2 videos ago. I went on this road trip with my friend Aaron around California, turned off Slack for the entire weekend, didn't even want to communicate with anyone on the business unless it was, a red alert situation, and I just left. Same thing happened with Max, my co-founder, my close friend. He decided to go skiing to recover because the thing is, like, you can't help anyone before you help yourself. And it was almost like a defense mechanism of like, shit, I need to get out of here because I'm so anxious and so burnt out that like I need to leave and go do something. And for me, that thing that I always go to that helps ground me is camping or going on a road trip. For him, it's skiing. For you, it might be something else. And so this was probably the hardest point for us and for the team because it reflects poorly on leadership if you're like, hey guys, I'm gone for this weekend, like deal with the shit. And I think it led to a lot of tension, which we now resolved. And it wasn't a great way of handling things. But all this to say, I'm a workaholic. I'm someone who is addicted to working. I'll admit that. It sounds kind of whack, but it's something that's just been ingrained in me since I was like 13 years old. I was literally making thousands of dollars selling Madden mobile coins in like 8th grade. Like, it's just something that's hardwired in my brain that pisses me off sometimes, but I'm very grateful for it. I've started tons of businesses in the past and made tons of videos and just tried to be someone because I just fell in love with the thought of like building something, of telling stories, and I get obsessive over those things, and it's just part of my DNA, and it sucks sometimes, but that's honestly what it is. I love doing this so much. But I think the biggest thing that I'm starting to learn, and it came with this burnout, and it came with honestly an Instagram reel that I saw the other day, and that's really helped me shift my mentality and help me take care of myself more, has been the understanding that getting to that point of burnout, getting to that place where I was struggling with my mental health physically and mentally, and just woke up feeling like shit and had to run away and go camping and leave everyone behind, that is my fault. And it's my responsibility to never let myself get in that position again. Now, I don't want to put too much, obviously, like, there's a lot of things that lead to burnout. Some of them are external circumstances, like if something happens in your family or something happens in your relationship that you can't control, like That's a different situation. But for the most part, taking care of yourself is always seen as a secondary thing. For me, it's always been this thing where I push to the limit until I'm just about to burn out, and then I push a little harder, and then I get burnt, and then I'm out for like a week. Even worse, I just feel mentally drained and I'm not myself. And we forget that it's our responsibility, it's your responsibility to show up in the best way that you can for the people that you work with, the people that you love, and that is your responsibility. And it's such an interesting shift because I think a lot of times it's like you don't want to blame yourself. You don't want to blame the person who's going through the burnout. It's like, oh, this work is just so much, like it's so hard, so I burnt out. It's not that. The work will always be there. Do you know why you burnt out? It's because you didn't take care of yourself enough. It's not because the work was hard. It's because you didn't set boundaries. You didn't go to the gym when instead of going to the gym, you decided to lock in for a few more hours. It's staying up till 2, 3 a.m. because you need to get this thing done instead of cutting it off and finishing it in the morning. And obviously there are times where you have to push through, but I think there's an understanding, at least for myself, that I'm the type of person who's obsessed with this stuff and is going to go the extra mile to do it. But I think the biggest thing to understand is that by not prioritizing yourself and your mental well-being and just working through everything, you are inherently not just hurting yourself, but you're hurting the people around you. If you're anywhere above like 22, which I'm 22, you probably understand this well in the sense of like if you have a family or you have a kid, it's like at the end of the day, you need to be there for them. And if you can't do that and you're not working on yourself and you're not taking care of yourself, then your family suffers. The people around you suffer. But that's such a thing that I've missed. And I just wanted to communicate that is important because it's something that in this era of hustle culture, when you're in your early 20s building something, wanting to build this big business, people often don't, like that's the last thing that they want to think about is how do you take care of yourself and how do you do it in a way that you take responsibility for your own mental well-being. You need to be able to have the heart cutoffs. You need to be able to tell people, hey, I need help. I'm not doing this right now. I'll do this later. And understanding that that's a thing that takes so much courage. It takes so much courage to do that. And it's honestly a way cooler thing, in my opinion, than powering through. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that I learned from that was this idea of I let myself get to that point of burnout. The only person that is responsible for that is myself. The only person that knows what I need to stay refreshed, to stay on top of these things is myself. I know that I like camping. I know that I like getting out. I know that on a Saturday I might just have to go somewhere and do something and be out in the sun and read some books and hang out with friends. And I know I need to treat that with the utmost level of responsibility because it's my responsibility to not only do these things because they're fun, but to do these things so I can show up better in other places in my life. And I know this is a rant, but this is something that's it's so important to me that I communicate to people as I document myself and this team building this company, that you might have a ton of responsibilities, but the number one responsibility is making sure you show up at 100% for the people around you, or show up as your best self for the people around you. And that is probably the hardest thing ever. And sometimes it means you might piss them off. You might be like, hey, I can't go do this thing right now. I need to do something else. And sometimes there might be tension there. But I think holding that line is super, super important. And so that's my message to anyone watching this who wants to achieve something or do something or be someone and is in that stage that I was and that I am. The number one responsibility, the number one thing on your plate is make sure you take ownership over your well-being. You are responsible for yourself and how you feel, and understanding what makes you fired up, what gets you better. Understanding when you're about to burn out or you're having a bad day, understanding that you need to maintain. You might have to go to the gym. Maybe for you it's playing a sport, or maybe it's just hanging out with friends or reading or writing or just doing something like that. You need to find those things outside of what you're doing that fill your bucket so then you can come back to the work at the highest level. I think a great analogy for this is when we were in Dubai a few months ago. We went for the summit and we met the CEO of Epidemic Sound. He's a guy who's built this $1 billion company, and we had a really great conversation over dinner with him. And something he said that he does is he treats his vacations like super seriously. He takes like 3 weeks out of the year, goes skiing with his family because it's a thing that fires up his endorphins. It's the thing that personally like makes him so excited and happy, honestly. And he goes on these like 3 week vacations. Keep in mind, he's a CEO of this like $1 billion company where there's probably a million things going on. But he says, for these 3 weeks, I'm not going to talk about work. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to go have fun and do the thing that I enjoy the most. And he gave us advice of if you optimize for endorphins in a company, if you optimize for what each of your employees loves doing, and you make sure that they have time for that. Obviously, it's a startup. You'll have a lot of stuff going on, but you make sure they have time for that, and you make sure to treat that with the utmost respect. Things will end up just way better, and people won't burn out, and people will actually enjoy working at your company. And something I've been thinking about a lot, I think an extreme example of this is like the Patagonia founder of taking like 4 months off, during the year. I mean, I'm assuming like he's kind of more of just chilling these days, not really working on the business. But yeah, he just goes fly fishing in his cabin. And for me personally, that's camping or hiking, is my level of skiing. And it's something that is not talked about enough, but I think is so important, is finding that middle ground. Understanding when you should push a little bit, when you shouldn't, but most importantly, understanding yourself and what fires you up, and taking that time for yourself and doing those things that hype you up. And yeah, I don't know. It's something I'm really, really passionate about. But something I did do for myself this weekend is I started going down this rabbit hole of sensory deprivation tanks. They're those like wild, like you go in a pod and you like lay down in salt water. And yeah, I did that today, which is kind of crazy, but I thought I'd vlog the experience. And it's not like I'm saying that as like, this is my thing, or this is me doing my mental health check so then I can check off the box and go back to work. But I don't know, I thought it was fun and it kind of relates to this. So yeah, anyways, that's all I wanted to say for today. Thank you so much for all the love on the videos so far and the people have been messaging. I love just like rebranding myself and changing it, and that hard process where like I post something, I'm like, oh, I cringe a little bit, but I think there are some real ones out there. And some of y'all are funny. Some of the comments are funny. So yeah, don't judge me too hard for the sleep deprivation thing, but yeah, take care of yourself. If you're ambitious, trust that you're that type of person. Don't burn out. It's your responsibility to make sure that you don't burn out, and that's on you and yourself only. Yeah, if you get to that level, it's your fault. Thank you. All right, so I booked an appointment at the sensory deprivation place. It's like one of those floating saltwater tanks of water. And yeah, I'm just gonna go float for an hour. I feel like it'll be relaxing. It's a slippery slope though. I feel like this is an intro to that weird world of like the people who eat sprouts and like just the weird health people. Yo, this is crazy. Look at this job. I'll be so real, I think that's like one of the craziest experiences I've ever had in my life. Like, first off, it's just this massive pod that you just sit in. And like I get in there, get all set up, situated, take a shower, that sort of thing. And then I get in the pod, and first off, my head is just way too big. I got a bowling ball head, and so I got to use like a neck floaty thing. And so I like get out of the pod as soon as I get in, and I like grab the neck floaty, put it around my neck. And then I realize, oh, this is salt water. Why am I rubbing my eyes? I literally put it in my hair and my face, and then my eyes were just burning. Literally the first 10 minutes, I was just like tweaking, just eyes are burning, on fire. I'm like, nah, this is not the vibe. Like, I just got scammed. But then the lights go off, and this is like 5 minutes in. The lights go off, the music stops, and I'm like, oh shit, like, this is legit. I'm in there just like floating, staring at the ceiling, and it's complete pitch dark, like can't feel anything. I'm like bouncing off the sides, have this like neck floaty on. And it was fun. I mean, and it was solid like the first 10 minutes or whatever. I don't even know how long it was. That's the thing, like you don't know how long you've been in there.
So at a certain point, you know you're cooked when you start asking the question of like, I'm sure it's been like 30, 40 minutes. But then you're like, what if it's been 15 minutes? And you start tweaking a little bit. But I think I would have freaked out a lot more if it was like a way bigger pool, because I could just bounce off the edges and I'm like spinning myself in a circle. At some points, like it was just way too much. Like I had to like sit up, and so I was like sitting in the tub, because it was like literally starting to make me go crazy. All the thoughts in my head just like releasing. It was weird. It was trippy. I don't know if it's. I don't know if I'd go back again, to be honest. But I mean, it was meditative. It was so satisfying though when like the music came on, the lights came on again. At a certain point, my feet were just like the tub has a lid, but it doesn't close all the way, so there's a little slit, and the lights are motion activated. So my feet would like go across the slit on the entrance of the tub, and the lights would just turn on. And so like randomly the lights would just start turning on, which kind of pissed me off. It took me out of the moment, but definitely one of the experiences of all time for sure. Yeah. All right, I'm out of here. Good stuff.